Hey guys, welcome back to Shay's Urban Edibles. It's been raining and dismal here in Houston, Texas for the past 5 days. I can't get out into the garden, and so I decided to bring you guys back into the kitchen. On today's menu, stir-fried kale and Swiss chard. So, come along. As you can see, I've already been out in the garden. I collected some kale, and then I also have some Swiss chard. I'm going to start by washing all of this. Actually, I'm going to cut the stalks off first. Then I'm going to wash all of the leaves in a little bit of salted water so that I can clean them thoroughly, and then we'll move on to the next process. I need my big knife for this part. Move my tomatoes out of the way. Strain the basket out. Okay. Go ahead and cut all these stalks off of the Swiss chard. You also, this one's a little beat up. I don't think I'm going to use it. Cut all of your big stalks. You can take some of these bottom leaves off of the kale so you don't lose it. But for the most part, you want to remove your stalk, especially when it's this thick. That's a big old big old kale leaf. Look how big that leaf is. Looks like I'm going to have enough kale to take to lunch tomorrow. All right. That process was quick enough. Take and put these outside in the garage. Come on, Penny. They can put these in a nice saltwater bath to rinse them thoroughly. Although I tried to grow organically, there can still be some bugs and stuff like that left behind. And so I always try to wash with salt. That salt will help to loosen the debris and the dirt, and then also the bugs. Plus, this is the way my mama taught me how to do it. Whenever she washed greens, she always added extra salt. And she didn't wash them in the tub, contrary to popular belief. So this is cold tap water. And it's really cold because it's been like in the 40s for the past few days here. So I don't have too too thick of any stems in here. Some stem is okay, but it's kind of like when you do your mustard greens. You don't want those big thick stems in there. These are okay. They're going to get cut up pretty thin. But the kale stems, I won't. All right, I don't see too many more in here. I'm going to take and cut up all of the Swiss chard leaves first. Know that they are similar in size and shape. Here's one. All right. Got that washed and rinsed. All right. Now that we've got all of our greens nice and washed and clean and stacked, I want to take and roll them. Actually, yeah, I want to take and roll them. And then I'm going to slice them thinly. Those should be okay. The ones that are still round, go ahead and cut those in half to make it a little smaller. All right, they are exactly where we need them to be. So for this one, still a little on the big side. And then with the kale, we can kind of just rip it with our fingers. We don't have to cut it. If you run across those big, thick stalks in there, you want to remove those. But for the most part, you want them pretty small because it's going to be stir fry. You don't want them big like mustard greens. This is that big leaf. Yeah, you want to rip them. Make sure they're not too big. I'm not going to add that much water to the pot. So it's not going to be like cooking a mustard green or anything like that. All right, looks good. Leave that in the strainer. Go ahead and add your Swiss chard back in there with it. Once you've done that, you can cut your onion up. I'm only going to use half of a yellow onion. Get that hull off. Shell, skin, peel, whatever you call it, take it off. Get that out of there. Penny, get out of my kitchen. Out. Put a little piece on there. Okay. Cut that butt off where you got that little bottom to the bottom of the onion. The rest of it can be sliced however you like. Thin, thick. I like mine sliced pretty thin. And then on top of it being sliced thin, I'm going to cut it in half. So we've got the onion ready. Got some cloves of garlic we want to add. I think I'm going to start with 3 and see how that looks. I may end up making a couple more, adding a couple more into this recipe. It's okay to smash the garlic to make it easier to peel because it's going to get chopped up anyway to go into the pot. So far it's looking like 3 garlics is enough. I may not have to use this 4th one. Chop it a little more. I want it a little smaller. Almost diced. Well, actually, it's going to be diced. It's not chopped, because if it was, it would be a lot bigger pieces. A little bit more. Then we can move on to slicing the tomatoes. I got some cherry tomatoes from my, I think it's a Sun Gold or a Sweet 100. Probably a Sweet 100, because they're not gold tomatoes, they're red. That came from my tomato bush out in the garden. I'm going to take those, rinse those thoroughly as well. So that they can be cut in half. Ooh, they're tasty. Leave some for me to eat fresh. I don't know how long it's going to take the ones outside to ripen, because from my understanding, the perfect temperature for tomatoes to ripen is between 70 and 75 degrees, and it's nowhere close to that right now. So I may end up taking those off the tomato plant, and bringing them back inside to just let them ripen on the counter. But yeah, I'm just going to cut these in half. I'm removing the stems from the top. I think that's all of them. There might be one other one in there towards the bottom. Let me clean up some of my mess. Another thing Mama also taught me was to clean. You cook in a clean kitchen and you clean as you go. I'm not going to use this purple onion. Put this back in the fridge. I think I need a rigid knife for these tomatoes. Sometimes they could be a little tough to cut with that smooth edge knife. So I'll use this serrated edge. Let me cut much better. Like I said, you cut them in half. And you can kind of eyeball it depending on how much you like tomatoes. If you want to add 2 cups, if you want to add 1 cup, it's up to you. You know, sometimes people can take a recipe and make it their own, depending on what their likes are. You know, it may cost for garlic. You may not particularly care for garlic, so you could replace that garlic with maybe extra onion or another herb. Maybe some ginger, some turmeric. Who knows? Okay, I knew there was one in there still. There's actually a couple more that still have it on there. Let me cut these. I happen to like tomato and onion. Actually, it's hard to miss me. There's not too many things that I don't eat unless I've just never had it before in my life. Um, so I pretty much eat all of my veggies. This is an okay amount of tomatoes. I could probably add more, but like I said, I want to leave some fresh for me to eat. So this is going to have to do. All right, we got everything cut up. We got our onion, we got our garlic, we got our tomatoes that have been cut in half. We have our kale and our Swiss chard. So the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and put our olive oil into a pan. Move this chicken out of the way first because I don't want nothing going on with it. I got my pot already on the stove. I'm going to put it on a medium heat. Add my olive oil. And plenty of it. So that I can start stir frying my onion and my kale. While that's waiting, I'm going to take out I think I'm going to use complete seasoning and black pepper. Yeah, complete seasoning, black pepper. And then I'm going to add in a touch of sugar to keep my veggies from being bitter. That's warming up. Oh, I forgot. We need some red pepper flakes too. Where's my red pepper flakes? There they are. Get a little bit hotter. Get my wooden spoon out so that I don't scratch up my non-stick pan like my kids have done. All right, that olive oil is feeling pretty thin. Add that onion in there. I should have cut that one a little more. I'm going to go ahead and start warming up my oil for my fried chicken. All right, that's getting nice and soft and fragrant. Add in my garlic. Cook it for a couple more minutes. Garlic is going to cook fast, so it gets brown a lot quicker than the onion. And so you really don't have to cook it long at all. Oh, it smells so good. Stir frying those onions, nice and soft. I've added the garlic and cooked it for a little bit. So I'm going to start adding in my spinach. I'm sorry, my kale and my Swiss chard. That one's kind of big. Last minute shredding. All right, we got that in there. Some of it anyway. I want to add a layer of seasoning before I add my second layer and let it cook down. So this is the Badia Complete Seasoning. A couple of dashes of red pepper flakes. And a little bit of black pepper. Yeah, I'm cooking at home. I'm not cooking in a restaurant, so no, I do not have gloves. All right, let's let this cook down for a few minutes, and then I will come back and add in the second part of the veggies. All right, it's cooked down pretty decently. I'm going to stir it a little bit more. And I'm going to add the rest of this in there. Ooh, that's a big one. Look at that. I missed that one. Got that. I want to add my 1 packet of Splenda. Like I said, to remove the bitterness, not to make it sweet like syrup. I want to add a little bit more seasoning, the complete seasoning. A little bit more black pepper. A little bit red pepper flakes. I like a spicy meatball. And some tomatoes. So it can cook down together. I still got a little garlic on that too. There we go. All right, let's let that cook a little bit more and I will bring you guys back. All right, let's check. See where we are. Oh, it's cooking down nicely. It's nice and green. Well seasoned. Got to see those onions in there. It's coming together nicely. All right, so while my Swiss chard and kale stir fry is cooking, I'm going to rinse a few of these chicken wings off to get them ready to be fried. I know this don't come from the garden. This came from the grocery store, but this is a part of the meal. These are chicken wings, so they easy to clean. You just kind of rinse them and make sure there ain't no extra feathers on there. All right, I'm gonna cook some today, and I'll save a few for tomorrow. Can't fit in there. I gotta put them in a Ziploc bag. I don't think they can all fit in this bag either. Let me get a big bag. All right, for the chicken, I am going to use some Slap Your Mama. I'm going to use a little bit of this onion powder. I'm going to use a little bit of this garlic powder. And I'm also going to add some of this mustard. Mix that in there. Get all that good seasoning and mustard on there. Then I will take and dip it in my flour and deep fry it outside in my little deep fryer. So much for clean as you go. This sink is full of dishes. All right, back for a little checkup. Tomatoes are soft. Kale is soft. Swiss chard is soft. I can see the seasoning in there. It's ready. I'm going to put it down on low so that it stays nice and hot while I fry my chicken wings. All right, folks, the chicken is done. The Swiss chard and kale stir fry is done. So I'm going to make me a plate for dinner. And I'm going to let you guys watch. So that's the Swiss chard and spinach. I'm sorry, Swiss chard and kale. I'm going to get an extra helping in that. I need to stay on top of my veggies. I got my chicken wings. I'm going to get a couple of those. And a roll. My main thing is to try this Swiss chard stir fry. All right, so here's a taste test. I'm sure it's delicious. It's got everything that I like in it. Get a little bit of the tomato, a little bit of the spinach. Mm. And it is delicious, just as I suspected. Now that is what I call enjoying the fruits of your labor. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this video. I do appreciate you guys joining me. If you have comments, questions, or suggestions, I'd appreciate it if you could leave it down in the comments. Also, if you've enjoyed my content or found something interesting, I'd appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit the notifications. That way you're made aware every time I put out a new video. And in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my dinner, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.